This is a picture I've been carrying around lately of my dad. And in this picture, he's standing in front of his house in Evanston, Illinois, and he's holding his cat, Scroodaloons, which was his favorite cat. And he must be like, I'd say he's probably 5 or 7 years old. And I'm literally carrying it around some days because campaigning is tiring, and everybody's asking questions, and you're supposed to raise money and just be everywhere, and I'm not with my family as much. And there's definitely a reason a lot of people don't run for office, because it is hard. But this photo is a reason why I'm running. And my dad passed away in January after a long time. He had Alzheimer's. But I'm realizing that I'm running this race, and I'm in a position to do the work that I'm doing. I'm an educator the way that I am, and I'm a parent organizer the way that I am because of my dad, because he was the first in his family to go to college, and part of that was because he went to public schools, because his parents didn't have an education. They weren't allowed to go to school. My grandma was from St. Louis, and that was Jim Crow at the time, and so black kids had a black high school, and if you couldn't walk 9 miles, you couldn't go. And was a really intelligent woman, but she was not educated, and so she ended up having to work as a maid in people's houses. But what she did do was she would become friendly with the women that she worked with, and I think she used those relationships to navigate for my dad. So she made sure that my dad was one of the only she moved across the zip code so that he could be in a integrated school. And this is in the 40s. So this is before any of that civil rights kind of stuff. So it probably was very progressive of this school to allow there to be black kids in the school. And he was told quite often that he was really smart for a colored boy. And that always hit me when he said that, because it was meant as a compliment to my dad, but it doesn't feel like a compliment. And he mostly had really great experiences. He had teachers who really cared about him, and he basically credits his early education in elementary school for giving him the background for being able to go to college when none of his cousins, none of anybody that he knew had ever been to college. And also he told me stories of going to visit his cousins in St. Louis that he had kind of left behind, and he would come back over the summer, and sometimes he'd be in school with them if they went on vacation when school was in session, and he said he was literally like 2 grades ahead. And so he was very aware that his cousins were also bright, but they were not getting the education that he was getting. And so those stories really, really impressed me, and I think I grew up with a feeling like of indebtedness, that I felt lucky because it was just automatic. Of course I was going to college. Of course I was in these, college level classes. And I knew that wasn't anything about me that gave me those opportunities. In some cases it was kind of luck. And so I wanted to become a teacher because I wanted to make sure that in our public schools, I could kind of pay it forward. I could pay that back, because I could never pay my dad back for what he did, but I could pay it forward for future kids. And so part of me running is when things get tough, I hold on to this photo because I'm doing this for the kids that are like my dad. They maybe don't know what they want to do. They don't know college is an option. They may not have professional people in their family, but they may someday want to do something, like some job that it hasn't even been invented yet. And they shouldn't be barred from having those opportunities because they are in a neighborhood that has a substandard school, or because their parents don't speak English, or because their family is facing homelessness. They all deserve that opportunity. And so this is a reminder for me that as hard as it is for me, it's nothing for some of these families. And what they want for their children is what I want for my kids. And I'm blessed to be able to give them. They're going to be okay because of all the work that my ancestors did. I want to make sure that other kids that have families that are struggling right now. These immigrant families or families, trans kids, like they deserve to have great, loving schools where they have teachers who care about them and the best education.